Let's not begrudge the weather.
No, absolutely not.
We've had such awful weather for so long.
And yeah, it's great to have this assortment of categories, races long and short, cars light and high-powered, all on the same bill, of course. At this stage of the meeting, we now move...
I've just got a bit of a piece of information about the race length for the next race. 25 minutes.
Okay, so down from half an hour for the Sports Prototype Cups. As I was just about to say, that's definitely the high-powered end of the spectrum. Certainly in the case of the LMP3s that we have out there, we now have one from each of the two predominant manufacturers out.
Right, hello everybody, welcome down to the assembly area. It's almost time for race 2 of the Sports Prototype. What a cracking race we had in race 1, didn't we? As you can see, the cars just getting lined up. We've got Graham Charman here. Let's just grab a quick word with Graham if we can as well. Graham, how are we doing? Are you ready for this one?
Yeah, a bit more ready. The first one didn't really go quite to plan. Qualified 4th, dropped down to 5th.
Yeah.
Got back up to 4th, and then made a stupid mistake and hit one of the bumps.
Oh no.
Broke the bodywork. And then that messed up the aerodynamics, and I ended up pushing too hard and spinning. So we've had a frantic lunch break. We've done some bodywork. The guides have been brilliant, and I find myself on P2. So here we go.
Here we go. Look, a great attitude. Another chance to make it right. You're gunning for this one, then, yeah?
Oh yeah.
Good man. Go get it. Go get it. Lovely. Let's keep going along. Over here we have Sir Chris Hoy. Let's grab a quick word with Sir Chris if we can. Obviously used to going fast, but you got familiar with these cars now. You were racing them last season as well. What's the expectation for you for race 2?
Well, just keeping our fingers crossed the issues we have with the engine aren't going to repeat themselves in the second race. But yeah. If the car is performing well, then fingers crossed it's just down to me.
Well, it's a very honest assessment. I mean, look, qualifying actually went very well, didn't it? You were on pole in class. Can you get the class win?
Sorry, I missed that.
I say, can you get the class win? Because you qualified on pole, didn't you, earlier in the day in the class?
I think you just take it one lap at a time. You don't think too far ahead, and it's a cliche, but it's just get the start out of the way and then settle into the race and see what happens. But you're never thinking too far ahead, so you're certainly not thinking about winning or losing. You're just thinking about doing the best job that you can. Does it
take long to get heat in these tyres? Of course, it's glorious weather today, isn't it? It's probably not ever going to be much better than this.
Yeah, I think it'll be fine now. The sort of challenge will be to make sure they don't overinflate them and they get a bit too sketchy at the back towards the end of the race. So it'll be about trying to manage the tyres, but getting a clean start, getting up there, keeping in contact, and then taking your chances when you get them.
Fantastic. Thanks for chatting to us. Best of luck for the race as well. Let's just keep going down, shall we? What a wonderful sight.
They really,
very
good
are,
communicator
aren't they?
and
We've got car number 6. Let's just grab a quick word. Mr. Lake over here, focused, ready for this, eager to get going.
Yeah, I can't wait to get out. Yeah.
You don't get nervous, do you? You don't get nervous, do you?
No, I
think
so.
I would. You've got actually passenger seat, and you could take me out for a ride one day then in this. So can you not? No, I'll let you go anyway. Let you crack on. He's got somebody in his ear talking to. In fact, it's almost time for the second Sports Prototype race. So as you can see, here's Mike Genvy just coming down. Of course, putting a lot of pressure. Finished second, didn't he, in race 1? What can he do in race 2? I'm going to hand you back to your commentator to talk you through the action.
Capable bits of kit out there in this field, and we get the very interesting story again of what can Michael Genvy do in that Gun TS6, and now what can Simon Evans do in the number 7 LMP3 car, because we've got the intriguing story of him coming through the pack, which is always going to be fun to watch. That's if it makes it through. Basically the car had an issue early on.
Yes, it was actually a clutch failure that caused him to
it was a very smoky one at that as well.
Yes, I think it was stuck in first gear very much by how it looked and sounded this morning in quali. But yes, let's if you have it in front of you. Unfortunately, I've just lost my mobile internet for a minute here. But if you have it in front of you, if you could run through the grid.
Yes, I have it here. So Bonamy Grimes takes pole position in the number 16 car. This grid is formed up by the second fastest times from qualifying, by the way. James Abbott will be second in the 74 machine, ahead of Michael Genvy in the 35 and Graham Charman in the number 5 car. Watch out for him. Sir Chris Hoy starts in 5th in car 70, with Richard Wells in 6th place, car 80. Following him is Chris Short and Stephen Lake on row 4, with Jason Rishover and Matt Brooks rounding out your top 10 on row 5. Following them is the number 20 of Andy Cummings, with the number 71 of Manhal Alos in 12th. Then we have Matthew Chamberlain in the number 15 machine, Simon Evans in the other LMP3 car in 14th spot, and Andy Chittenden in the MCRS2 lines up 15th on row 8. So, not the biggest grid of the day, actually the smallest grid of the day, but still very entertaining racing from what we saw in race 1, Adam.
Well, absolutely, and unfortunately, with a number of the revolutions being foreign-based and the drivers being foreign-based, we have lost some of the primary class, the revolution category, to travel issues, but nonetheless, the racing should be brilliant. We are having a reduced race 25 minutes from the start of the green flag lap, so the race is effectively already underway, so they're going to get just a fraction over 20 minutes of green flag running all told. They're already forming up into 2x2 formation as they come past me here at the Wellington Straight, and as the Ligier JS P320 comes past me, I'm reminded that we do have the pair of 5.5 litre V8s in this race, and that means I need to shut the windows in my commentary box, otherwise I won't be heard.
Yeah, and anybody that is out there today at the circuit, especially all of you lot at Luffield, I can see you from here, so give us a wave over on your left. But from what you will hear now, you will definitely be able to tell which of these cars, if you can't visually tell which one's the LMP3 cars, you will certainly know. But it's number 16 and number 7. They're almost bookending the order. Number 7 with the gold flashes on it as well near the back of the field. 16 white and blue on the inside of the front row. But the second race of the day here in the Sports Prototype Cup is about to get underway. The field creeps towards the line. The lights are on. And Grimes is going to wait to lead them away. And the lights are out and we're underway. There's a bit of a check-up in the middle of the field from the Revolutions. They all have to take it a little bit easy as they go through Cops, though, Adam. Seems like everybody got through cleanly, though.
Yes, looks like we've got a full quota of cars headed towards Maggots and Beckett's for the first time, and it is Bonamy Grimes that leads the way from the number 35 of Michael Genvy. Following him is James Abbott in P3, followed by Charman in the number 5. So about in the order they set off from, as the De Quen chassis leads them off down the Hanger Straight and into Stowe for the first time. The little gun TS6 though is right there with Bon once again as they head down towards Club Corner for the first time of asking. It's like a terrier nipping on the heels of a German Shepherd.
Sorry, he just went down the inside of him there, nearly made contact. I don't know how they didn't, but it was a late dive down the inside from Genvy, but fantastic stuff, really making his intentions clear early on here against the LMP3 car at the front of the pack. He still holds second place, but he's lost a bit of ground now. But then we have Abbott in the number 74, as he was in race 1, a little bit off the back of those pair in third.
Yes, absolutely. He stayed with them for a couple of laps last time around, but this time I don't think he's been given quite so many luxuries. They've driven off into the distance. The leading car in the Revolution category is the number 70, so Chris Hoy this time got a much better start and leads the Revolution class. So good to see Sir Chris having a good start to this race after dropping through the order and not really recovering in race 1. Chittenden takes up the rear, going under the bridge at the Wellington Straight, with the leaders back with you.
Yep, the wonderful P3 car just flying past here, with Genvy chasing him down in the very, very loud gun. And then in fourth place we've got Graham Charman, who of course had that incident in the first race where he got beached on the curb, but he's now back in it. The other LMP3 car, the number 7 machine, which is even louder than the 16, is still struggling slightly in getting through past some of these revolutions. It seems, like you said before at the top of the day, that those revolutions are really good at sticking with the LMP3s.
Yes, they're not a million miles away, and I think, you know, in certain sections of the track they do have what it takes. There's not much between a very well driven revolution and an LMP3 car.
Easy for you to say.
Yes, I know. That was a proper tongue twist, vocabulary exit head moment there. But
You made up for it with that, though.
The 16 it is that leads from Genvi, as we said. Bon Grimes, he's done thousands upon thousands of kilometres at the wheel of that car. One of the series I had the pleasure of commentating on, the Ultimate Cup Series. He and Johnny Molam did a full season with them in 2019 when the car was still in its Norma N30 guise, and he has certainly got plentiful experience of that car. The man who founded the Skyscanner website. I'm sure many of you looking to travel abroad once things are a little more normalised will be familiar with.
I was all over it last week.
Excellent. Abbott there comes past me now in third place, again in the USA spec Revolution A1, which effectively has a little bit more power, also some slightly beefier brakes as well among the spec changes that may also come to Europe in 2022. Meanwhile, the number 7 comes flying past me, Simon Evans, making his way past the Revolution field fairly easily there down the Wellington straight. The superior power and the sleek coupe body of that LMP3 car makes quite the potent combination in a straight line.
Yeah, it certainly does. It's absolutely flying at the moment. It's about to roar past my commentary box as well. Popping and banging all of its way down there. Almost sounds like a jet fighter. It's got that crunch to the noise that it makes. It's absolutely phenomenal, even in comparison, like I said before, to that number 16 machine. But it's all even Stevens at the front at the moment, to be fair. The Genvi driven machine is not quite able to keep up with the LMP3 car, but he's not dropping away rapidly, is he? He actually did the fastest lap of the race last time.
Yes, 157.448 is I think quicker even than he was going in qualifying. So that shows that he's really found some more pace across the day, and now of course the tyres will be working better with him in these hot conditions and so on, factors prevailing and allowing Genvi to challenge Grimes.
I can confirm he did a 58.8 in quali. So
there you go. Quicker. So yeah, he's really put the wick up in the gun TS6 for this race. We know that Michael Genvi, a very handy driver in a prototype.
We've got a car around at Club. It's the white and yellow Revolution, who's done a Revolution too many. Looks like he's just waiting for the traffic to go before he gets going again, although no, he's not going again. I think he may have stalled it. We've got double wave yellows on the way in, single yellow flag on the way into Club. But yeah, that car doesn't look like... Oh no, he's got going again. Literally, as I say that, commentator's curse of the opposite kind, and he gets going again. Now, out of Luffield, race leader Grimes has got Genvi right with him now. The little pesky gun, it's almost like some sort of evil sidekick just trying to chase him down. It's just fantastic, this little thing. Like you said before, nipping at the heels of a German Shepherd. It's absolutely flying, is that gun. Sounds fantastic doing it as well. We've then got Abbott, once again, unfortunately for him, on his own in the middle of the field. Then you've got Charman in the number 5. Fastest lap of the race last time round by Grimes of 157.153. Really good stuff from him. And then where is the other P3 car? It's just behind Sir Chris Hoy in the number 70. You could probably hear it come through my microphone as well. I've opened the door behind me to let some cold air in, but wow, what a noisy bit of kit.
Absolutely. So Evans making good use of the car at this stage. He is just behind Chris Hoy, so splitting the top 2 in the Revolution class. It is Chris Hoy who leads the Evolution order, Revolution I should say, at this moment in time. Chris Short in the 55 follows, and then Andy Cummings in the number 20 up to 3rd in class, so he's made up a couple of spots so far in this race within the Revolution category. As you may already know, the Revolution cars supported the Portuguese Grand Prix last year, will support the Italian Grand Prix later on this year. word is that of the 25 cars that exist, we expect an overwhelming majority of them to be there one way or another. Top two come past my commentary position once again. And sure enough, the Gen V, well, it has been dropped slightly on this lap. I think the gap will now be out to over a second, maybe a second and a half next time they cross the line. Certainly keeping Bon Grimes honest and forcing him to explore the limits of the LMP3 Duquin.
Yeah, definitely. He could have sort of turned up here and thought, you know, we're in the fastest car, we don't have to push its limits that much, but he's really having to work hard here because Gen V is just there, filling his mirrors, really irritating him at the moment. I imagine just, well, that's if he's looking in his mirrors. A lot of the time I know that drivers tend to just really focus eyes forward and they just ignore their mirrors completely, because if they know they're getting away from the car behind a little bit, they don't worry too much as Abbott goes through once again. And then we have Charman, and the number 7 of Evans has got past Chris Hoy.
Just made that move 5th overall as they went under the bridge at the Wellington Straight, so he's now passed the entirety of the Revolution A1 class, although of course there is still a Revolution ahead, the 3rd place overall car of James Abbott, who looked very happy, it must be said, after his run in the car in race 1. I had a brief interview with him over the lunch break, and he looked very happy. I mean, the car is largely his handiwork. He's in charge of a lot of the development and the adjustment and the engineering of these Revolution A1s, and this souped up version, for at least for now exclusively for the American market, is looking to be a hit with him, and from what I hear it's also piquing the interest of many of the other drivers we have today.
It just looks like Chittenden has been overtaken by Wells. That's confirmed on the TSL timing screen. Wells went down the inside of Brooklands, and then Chittenden was still on the inside for Luffield. Had to get out of it and get on the brakes, almost go on the grass there, did Andy Chittenden. So he manages to avoid any incident there as Wells decides that he's going to take the racing line, but as is racing drivers. Now, we've got Grimes running a little bit wide out of Brooklands, but as you said before, Adam, that gap is really opening up now. Gen V not quite able to do anything about him here, but we know how quickly that can change. Still over 10 minutes of this race left to go. Do you think Gen V can get back on it in that middle sector?
Well, I think it's more to do with the Duquin being wound up rather than Gen V losing any time. I think lap on lap, Bond just gets that little bit quicker. Indeed, coming towards the Maggots-Beckett section this time by, the throttle application smoother than it was a few laps ago. Bond was talking about in the interview earlier on, you know, still needing to figure out his technique through Maggots and Beckett's, and just on by ear, the throttle application, he's certainly smoother than he was at the beginning of this race. It is, you know, still very much about gathering data for whatever the next international adventure may be. For Bonamy, for Johnny Molam and Red River Sport.
We've got a Radical having another bite at the heels of the number 20 car in front. It's Ellis and Lake right together there. Lake was right with him out of the corner, but Ellis just using maybe a bit more of the power in that Revolution just to get away slightly from the Radical SR3. But those Radicals really, you know, they're not small cars. They're quite compact and very nimble, but they're not small by any stretch of the imagination, but they look small in comparison to the very angular and quite bulky Revolutions, don't they?
Absolutely, they've bulked up somewhat since the RXC and the RXC Coupe. The newer RS SR3s do look a little more sizable than the ones we saw approximately a decade ago. But yeah, still fairly small cars as it goes, just not in their present company, I suppose you could say. Abbott, just coming past the loop at the moment, once again, as with the last race, has ended up about 20 seconds off the back of Gen V, but still ahead of Charman. Of course, Charman was right there with Abbott at points in the previous race, but ultimately brought out the safety car that put a premature end effectively to the green flag running last time we saw the sports prototypes here in the early afternoon. The battle in the Revolution class is getting incredibly close. Hoy definitely has Chris Short for company now. They head onto the Wellington Straight. and Chris Hoy is going to have to start using the mirrors within the next few corners, I would dare suggest. It's great to see Chris here. Of course, he achieved his goal of running in the Le Mans 24 hours, but he clearly grew a deep passion and love for the sport at the driver's seat, because he's still here and still running at national and international level various times a year.
Yeah, he's doing a smashing job, and as I said before, he's just one of those blokes that's just always doing something. Like he's just never stopped. It's fantastic. And the number 55 machine of Short is only a short distance back from him now, to be fair. So Chris is really going to have to push. It looks like Short got a really good run through Copse, actually. He might be right with him by the time they get to Maggots and Beckett's with you, Adam.
Yes, it is very much side by side, in fact, as they head towards Maggots and Beckett's. Optical illusion for a minute, thought they were line astern, but nope, they were side by side. Hoy just holds on to it as they go through Maggots and Beckett's for the 7th time of asking. Meanwhile, Bon Grimes comes past my commentary position at full chat once again in his LMP3, but keep my eyes peeled towards Stowe Corner for the lead battle in the Revolution class. 7 minutes to go, so Chris Hoy is going to have to dig fairly deep into his what is granted a fairly sizable bag of tricks at this point, given the experience he's had over the last several years since growing 2 wheels on his competitive vehicles. And he is still, by the looks of it, as they headed towards Club Corner, in the lead of this battle for the honours. Indeed, the 70 car was in the lead as they went through Stowe. I can see that on the wonderful YouTube live stream that I know a lot of you are watching this event live on. Unfortunately, from my vantage point, I have a slightly delayed feed, but as they come towards Village, it is Chris Hoy still in the lead, but diving up the inside there is Chris Short. It's a battle of the Chris's, and it is Hoy just about in the lead, but no, as they go through the loop, it is now Chris Short who has managed to barge his way through into the lead of the race. I'm not sure if there was contact, but if there wasn't, it was very close, and Chris Hoy, in an attempt to get a good run down the Wellington Straight, went wide onto the runoff, onto the grass. It looks like they're still wheel to wheel now as they head towards Brooklands, and I think it is still Short who's in the lead as they tip it into Brooklands and through the last couple of corners once again.
Short has got it done. Chris tries to get some sort of cut back through Luffield. Anyone that knows Luffield knows that you can take about 48 different lines through there. He's tried to go around the outside at Woodcote now. Short's given him the room on the left-hand side. Hoy's carried the speed around the longer line, but he's on the outside of the Copse. It's going to be a bit crazy to go around there. He does stick it around the outside, but obviously loses the overlap on the exit as they get back to you again, Adam.
Absolutely. This time it's Chris Hoy on the offensive rather than defensive then as they go through Maggots and Beckett's, cars 55 and 70, locking horns here. A great showcase for the Revolution A1 as they head out through now onto the Hangar Straight once again. Hoy not close enough, I don't think, to challenge into Stowe, although the slipstream may beg to differ as they go down the Hangar Straight and under the bridge into Stowe. I keep my eyes peeled into the very far distance to see if they are locking horns into Stowe. No, it's still Chris Short in the lead of this battle for what is not only, of course, the Revolution lead, but also 6th overall. We're into the final 5 minutes of the race, so if Chris Hoy is going to reclaim this lead in class, he hasn't got too long to do it. Meanwhile, a rather heavy drop in pace from Michael Genvy. Last lap at 2:01.0, he's dropped to over 10 seconds back from Bon Grimes, and I wonder if everything is A1 in the Gun TS6.
Yeah, he hit the limiter down the straight here, which would either just suggest that he's just trying to wring its neck or he's been a bit distracted before an upshift.
I'm going to have to interrupt you there because as they come through the loop, Chris Hoy is back into the lead of this Revolution class battle. I didn't see where that happened from my vantage point, while also swivelling head to see Maggots and Beckett's. But Hoy is back into the lead, and he's once again got a few car lengths over Chris Short. Now, Chris looks quicker lap on lap as an average by the looks of it, but he's going to have to work his way back past Sir Chris Hoy once again, with maybe 3 laps left to try and take the win.
Short's looped it. I was going to say it's only a short-term gain for the number 55, but it's now a long-term loss because he's just looped it partway around Luffield. It looked almost like it snatched away from him on a downshift on the way into the corner because he overshot the apex, ran a bit wide, and then suddenly it just snatched and went around. Whether that was on the brakes or Whether it was a downshift, I'm obviously not 100% sure, but he's still stuck there now. And I'm pretty sure that the car isn't running because the marshals are walking over to it, now running over to it to check that they can get it moving. I think he might have just beached the rears. It looks to me like the front of the car is still on the road. So they could be just pushing him away. I'll come back to you on that one, Adam.
Okay, well, that leaves Chris Hoy with a good amount of breathing room then, leading the Revolution class, and now doing so by 11 seconds. In fact, no more than, just on a dozen seconds over Bradley Ellis in second place. Of course, Bradley Ellis, a driver with plentiful experience in a multitude of classes across many years. So not a driver that gets beaten by someone who doesn't have talent. And we've seen so many times that Chris Hoy has managed to apply his cycling success to the world of car racing, and he's going to get another first place. I was sat there with the series coordinator earlier on. He was holding the trophy for Sir Chris. Jokingly commented, I'm going to give him the most disappointing third place prize he's ever had relative to Olympic medals, but I think he'll be very happy to get another first place on the mantle in the Revolution class should things stay as they are for the next 2 minutes.
Yes, indeed, I'd be very pleased with that. Looks to me like they've tried pushing Short's car again. It's still where it was.
Right.
I can't see the waved yellows or anything, but the marshal's post is maybe just out of the way from where I am, maybe behind the BRDC building. But the marshals have sort of backed away to wait for a moment and potentially give it another go. They've not gone back behind the wall yet, so I'd say that Short is potentially going to still try and finish this race to at least be classified. A minute and a half left on the clock.
Yes, Bon Grimes just coming towards you now at Brooklands, so he's we're going to get one more lap out of this race. Last time by Genvi, a 1:57.207, which is back right around the pace we'd expect from him. So whatever issue caused him to drop to several seconds, or drop several seconds a lap to the point where it's now 17 seconds.
I'm going to have to correct you, Adam. That was his best lap. His last one was a 2:03.
Oh yes, my apologies. I am looking at the wrong column. My apologies.
It's gone the opposite way for him. It's got even worse now because Grimes has just done the fastest first sector on the last lap. He's actually done the fastest lap of the race on the last lap.
My apologies. Yes, very, very, very well spotted. 2:03.572. I mean, Genvi, of course, he's engineers the car, and maybe he's just felt something that doesn't feel quite right, and he's put the anchors on a little bit to preserve the car and at least make sure he gets to the end.
Yeah, that's the thing. To finish first you must finish.
Yes.
This is the legendary phrase.
Yes, that's the motorsport proverb.
Now we have quite the spread with everybody else in the field, really, in the Revolutions. Nobody less than 2 seconds apart. Alos is 2.5 seconds behind Brooks. A little bit further back down the order. Charman's just gone through. And we wait. Here comes the other P3. Thank you. That just sounds unbelievable. I'm going to keep saying it until the very end, everybody. But we do still have a few more left to go in terms of drivers coming through before the race winner. Although, actually, do we?
Yes, we do. There's 3 more cars that will come past you before we get the leader across the line to take the flag. But coming out of Village there, Bon Grimes, I think maybe just tried to ramp up the power a split second too early. Got a right wiggle on the short straight between that and the loop.
I thought I heard something going on there.
And but thankfully continues on without any issues, and will now come to you behind the second and third place in Revolution class.
Yes, indeed. Looks like it's going to be a nice victory then for Bonamy Grimes. Round the final corner, floors it through Woodcote and takes the checkered flag. Fantastic stuff for the number 16 LMP3 machine. Of course, the Duquesne LMP3 chassis that Adam and I have given about 40 different variations.
Yes, I think I've settled on Duquesne, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I like that. We wait though to see, of course, the number 35 machine of Michael Genvi crossing the line for his second place of the day in the brilliant.
Oh, I must interrupt you. A late spin for the other LMP3 car, the Ligier JS P320 of Evans. spins it on the final lap at the loop, and has very bravely gone across the gravel to get it turned back around onto circuit. Thankfully doesn't beach himself, and does recover the car. Will get to take the flag without losing a place. He'll stay in 5th place ahead of Sir Chris Hoy, the first of the Revolutions home, who will get an extra lap compared to most of his class, but a little bit of a heart in the mouth moment, both very much at the same section of circuit for both of the both of the P3 drivers, as I guess they continue to wind up the taps and figure out their cars.
Yeah, maybe just wear out the rears a little bit too much, but
yes,
everybody at Luffield now is going to enjoy the sound of that Ligier one more time as he puts his foot down and bellows out all of the power from that Nissan engine. And here we go, one more time through my mic. Oh, with a big pop and bang for good measure. Fantastic stuff. And of course, in the Revolution class, it is going to be Sir Chris Hoy who gets the slight pleasure, not in an overly competitive way, of going past the stationary car that was once nipping at his heels in that race, and he will come across the line now through Woodcote, and Sir Chris Hoy takes another win in his glistening career, you could say. Fantastic.
It's a varied CV.
Oh, it is, yeah. It's a phenomenal CV, one of the very best in the world. It's great to see him back out, though. It's awesome. And then, of course, Lake finishing in sorry, not even in that class, apologies. He finishes just behind Chris Hoy. Ellis finishes 2nd in the Revolution category, and then Brooks in 3rd place in there as well. But another very entertaining race, and again, this category just proving that you don't need a huge grid to have a lot of fun. We were talking on our way to the circuit today about the fact that we've both sort of covered races before with even less than 10 cars and still had good racing. This proves that concept once again.
Well, absolutely. 15 cars for a sports prototype grid on average in the UK really isn't too bad at all. Of course, it should have been many more. We should have had over 20, but for the travel issues experienced by some of the Revolution class competitors. But I think the only reason 15 cars would be considered a small grid here today is just by virtue of the population on all the other categories. In amongst grids of 40, 50, upwards of 60 cars, of course, in the 24-hour, it does look somewhat diminutive, but the racing action there, what we saw especially in the Revolution class, more than made up for any perceived lack of entries.
Doors open on Bond Grimes' car for the 2nd time today at the #1 spot in Parc Fermé, and James Bailey, the...
Well, hello everybody, welcome back down to Winners' Row, I'm going to call it now, and it's this man again, Bond Grimes, who's made it a double bubble of wins. Look at that, he's all smiles underneath that helmet. Bon, you're going to need a big trophy cabinet, I think.
I am, aren't they? Lovely trophies, really like this, perfect.
And you've got a fair bit, you've got 2 bottles of champagne now, you know, where's the party later?
I think my wife will be pleased. Yeah, let's go and celebrate. But actually, I might give one of these to the boys because Nielsen have been absolutely amazing with their support this weekend.
Fantastic.
And I know they've got a busy time. They're off out back to Europe straight away, pretty much. So this one's for them and for Tommy and the coaching and friendly support.
Very easily. It was a similar sort of pattern, actually, wasn't it? To sort of race 1, Mike was keeping you under pressure, but you just held him at bay throughout the race, really.
Yeah, I decided to go a bit more aggressive this time, straight out the box. It helped with the tyres.
Yeah.
So we got the tyres up to temperature more quickly, and it felt great. So it was, then we just bring it home to the flag.
They make some noise, don't they? Oh,
they
my
do.
word! What is it like to drive? Come on!
Some baffles in there. We could take those out and make it louder.
Can we? Look, congratulations! What an incredible weekend for you. I can see underneath that helmet you're all smiles. So
I always am. Yeah.
Go on, go celebrate with your team because there you go. Congratulations! That is Bond Grimes, the winner of the Open class. This man here is Sir Chris Hoy, is the winner of the Revolution class as well. Let me just move out of the way before I get run over. As if perfect timing, isn't it, as well? I do know James is just going to hand the trophy before we grab a quick word with Sir Chris there. But yeah, we had a chat with him actually, didn't we, in the assembly area before the race. I had to wait quite a while in there, but managed to get the job done. Look at that as well. Let's grab a quick word when he's got a second. It was all about the game plan, wasn't it? Came under incredible pressure from Chris Short, but unfortunately Chris Short, an error by him, allowed Sir Chris to get back into it as well. We'll just let him take the trophy.
Yeah, it was getting, both of our tyres were going off when he did this on TV.
There we go, look. Fantastic stuff. So Chris, I imagine you've got quite a big enough trophy cabinet as it is anyway, but you're getting quite a collection of these now as well.
There's always space for one more.
It was a great battle with Chris Short, wasn't it? And he actually got past, didn't he?
Yeah.
But I think he stuck his tyres there in the gravel, and so you're able to come back through.
It was a great battle, and I think that it was good fair racing. You know, both of our tyres were going off. You could see the back end was starting to swing around, and unfortunately, he just got on the gas a bit too soon, and he spun it on Luffield. But yeah, it was good fun while it lasted. But I'm glad that I was ahead of him when he spun.
We spoke in the assembly area actually, and you said it's all about gameplay. Get a good start. Lap by lap, it's exactly what you did, and it's proof. Stick to the plan, and it could come home.
Yeah, I mean, it is a cliche, but you've got to do it one lap at a time and just not think too far ahead. And it's hard when your closest rival spins off and you start thinking, I could win this, but you're trying to just say just one lap at a time. And anything could go wrong at any moment in motorsport, so you don't take anything for granted. But that was great fun. Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
I can see it. Big smile on your face. Thanks. Enjoy it. Enjoy the rest of the day. Fantastic stuff there. Big congratulations to the man there, Bon Grimes, who's made it a pair of wins, and of course Sir Chris Hoy, who wins the Revolution class. I'm going to hand back to your commentator because it's almost time for the next catering race.